All right. So I watched Thunderbolts. and and we've got thoughts. So I feel like both sides of the argument in regards to this movie are being disingenuous. For the people that are saying that this is probably the best film we've ever received since Infinity War, cat. Because there are a lot of films that we've received since Infinity War. Shang-Chi and the Ten Rings, Guardians of the Galaxy 3, Spider-Man No Way Home. And I know that a lot of times No Way Home either falls into too much fan service for some people or the perfect Spider-Man movie for others because of the nostalgia bait. But it was one of the movies that released as well. I feel like those individuals dislike certain movies, and as a direct result, they've decided to just lump the entirety of the MCU over like the last, I'd say, 5 years into one big pot, and they're full of shit. Then there's the opposite side, which is basically jumping up and down, going, um, that this is the worst film we've ever received. Ah, ignoring the fact that Ant-Man Quantumania exists, the first Captain Marvel movie exists. Like there's a ton of really bad MCU movies out there. Like completely ignoring all of them, saying this is the worst movie ever. But these people are the ones that pop up every single time a new MCU movie drops. It's literally the worst movie ever. And it's really hard to navigate whether or not they're people that have just simply lost enjoyment in the MCU or like genuinely lost enjoyment in the MCU since, like, let's say Endgame, or if they're individuals that are just basically grifting off of the people that have lost enjoyment or for the most part complain about fucking everything. I think this movie is very middle of the pack. I would land this movie at either, if I was to do a scale of out of 10, I would say this movie is either a 7 out of 10 or an 8 out of 10. Like it's in that nebulous zone. It's not the greatest MCU movie ever, but it is really, really good. The cast of characters for this film is fantastic. And I'm actually gonna pull up the entire cast because I don't remember people's fucking names because that's just how I operate. I apologize. All right. Names are hard. So we're gonna run down a quick list of people that are essentially in this film that I think did an overall fantastic job. Florence Pugh as Black Widow, Yelena, fantastic. I think that this is the movie that, in all honesty, gave her enough time to flex. Like a lot of the other times when she's shown up in the MCU, she's very chirpy, and she yaps and chirps a lot in this film. But this film gave her emotional depth. On the opposite side of her coin, Lewis Pullman as Robert Reynolds the Sentry is fucking fantastic. He is the best new addition to the MCU. He is great. When we're talking about somebody who's able to perfectly nail a comic book character, Lewis Pullman does that with Robert Reynolds. You get the idea of this dude who had issues before he took part in this program. And the program basically took all of those issues and insecurities and exploded them times 1 million. When he's Bob, he's nerdy and he's quirky. When he's Sentry, he's like egotistical and a little bit egomaniacal, but there's like this little hint of sinister behind all of his actions. Like he's a guy that's basically walking a tightrope, and that tightrope may just snap at any point in time, and he'll just go absolutely insane. When he's Void, menacing. Fucking love it. I love just how dynamic his Sentry is in this film. It definitely has, in my opinion, one of my favorite superhero fight sequences that we've ever received. I don't know who you are, but whoever it is at Marvel that decided, I would say around the time of Eternals in regards to Makari, where you were like, you know what? Let's stop doing slow motion for speedsters. Let's actually do speedsters moving and having it be shown from the perception of people who are not speedsters, whoever made that artistic call, thank God. Watching Sentry just speed blitz motherfuckers and make child's play of people who are fucking super soldiers has to be my favorite sequence in the entire film. It is fucking good, and I absolutely love it. David Harbour as Alexei, I really didn't expect his character to have any type of emotional growth because he's always been basically a man child every single time you've seen Red Guardian, even in the Black Widow movie. But this movie actually gets to the core of how he feels about Yelena and the fact that he sees Yelena as basically his actual fucking daughter. Like that's my child. He, like, to quote Yondu, he may be your father, but he ain't your daddy. Like, he's great. I absolutely love it. That sequence where he pulls up in that fucking limousine in the middle of the desert, and like he's shouting for Yelena, and she's like, please, for the love of God, don't tell me that my dad is here to pick me up. Please tell me that he's not. No, loved it. Fucking hilarious. Wyatt Russell is U.S. agent. I kind of feel like they made him a lot more menacing, where he felt like the unstable Captain America. Because at the end of Falcon and the Winter Soldier, um, it very much seemed as though they were setting him up for a redemption tour. I kind of like the fact that he did not get a redemption tour. My man was used, abused, then thrown away. The fact that he lost that super supporting wife, the fact that he'll never regain the title of Captain America. Like, his fight scenes are brutal as shit. Like, he does stuff that Steve Rogers would never do. Like, Steve Rogers may knock you out. Then again, we've seen Steve Rogers like drop off of a parachute and boot the fuck out of a man into the side of a building. So I'm not saying Steve Rogers won't put belt to ass when he needs to, but Wyatt Russell as U.S. agent is just devastating. Like, slamming a dude's head into the side of a building, then dragging him along the way, like punching somebody in the throat and hitting them in the jaw to like knock them up or knock them over something. Brutal as fuck. Sebastian Stan, I know a lot of people wanted him to be more of a main character in this, but I feel as though the two leads of this film are Florence Puh and Lewis Pullman. They are the two leads. Yelena, Robert Reynolds. Like, they are the ones that we're focusing on. Bucky is kind of along for the ride, and he has some really, really cool scenes. That scene where like he takes his fucking shirt off and he's like, you know, I ain't no bitch. I'll square up with you one on one. And he tries to give like Sentry like the like that 3-piece extra crispy combo. And Sentry's just like, what are we doing, man? Snatches his arm off, then like smacks him in the face with his arm, then throws his arm like it's fucking trash. That's great. Like, I loved his role in this, even if I wanted to see more of him. Olga Kurylenko as Taskmaster. Damn. I had assumed for the longest time that Taskmaster was gonna get got, because I always felt as though, no, it feels like they CGI'd you into some of these scenes later on for you to be there. But for her to basically show up, have one line, like, I'm talking new suit, new fit, everything, suited and booted, dressed to the nines. Like, the new update design is fantastic, and I wish that was the design for the Black Widow movie. But to have her basically show up as a version of Taskmaster that no one really liked, like, nobody was out here defending her Taskmaster. Nobody liked that twist. But then having her basically get got and instantaneously killed as early as she got killed was fucked up. Like, I was at least hoping that she'd be around for a little bit longer, but she dies and then they move on from her character so fast. There's even a scene where US agent and and Ghost basically like pick her body for equipment. Like he takes like a pistol that she has, and then Ghost takes like some of the equipment that she has on her body as well. And I was like, damn, like I know there wasn't really a lot of sentiment around or behind this version of Taskmaster, but watching her get done dirty that bad made me feel a certain type of way. It's kind of like when you don't like a certain type of character in a movie, and then they go out in the most fucked up way possible. Like, why you have to disrespect that man like that? Why do you have to disrespect that woman like that? Like, why couldn't you let her like at least make it to Sentry? I'd have been fine if she was the one that Sentry basically killed in that confrontation in the Avengers Tower. That would have been a nice send off for the character, but the unceremonious shot to the head and instantaneous death just threw me for a fucking loop. Because even me and my boys who were watching the film, we were like, "Damn, she dead like that? Yeah, yeah, she dead like that." Julia Dreyfus as Valentina, also fucking good. I didn't know how I was gonna feel about her popping up again because for the most part, I always kind of found her character to be a little on her other pop-ups in the MCU, but I feel as though this one really got to the weeds of just how much of of just a conniving character she is. Like the ability to constantly find some way in order to survive. Like she has great cockroach instincts, where no matter what, the entire planet will get wiped out, and in some way, shape, or form, she would have eked out some way for her to survive or for her to be able to profit from the end of the world. So every single character in this, I would say, got a major fucking blow up. And that's freaking good because you would want that from an ensemble film. Now, outside of the ensemble film, there are there are a few complaints that I would say. I wish we had gotten a little bit more from the Void. Like I wish that the Void wasn't so much of a third act menace. And then we all knew that none of these guys are going to be able to beat Sentry from that one fight scene. We were like, yeah, nah, these guys are cooked. He's melting weapons. He fucking superheats Bucky's arm. He's throwing them around like rag dolls. Like he's going out of his way not to kill them. But if he turns on the sauce just one time, everybody dies. So we knew walking into this, he was not going to be beaten by like fists. Them going through the mental anguish of like the void realm where they're dealing with their deepest darkest fears and the things that keep them up at night. Essentially, Yelena's dealing with the very first time she performed a Black Widow mission. I kind of wish we kind of got more from everyone else as to what they got. I feel if we get a director's cut of this film, we may actually see what Bucky's nightmare is. Bucky's nightmare may just be him strapped to that fucking gurney in Captain America, the first Avenger, and Steve doesn't see him. Like Steve runs past and he doesn't turn around and come back to that room. That may be Bucky's like nightmare. Agent's nightmare, John Walker's nightmare is not paying enough attention to his wife and kid and taking his frustrations about the fact that the Captain America title was stripped away from him onto them and him perpetually living through that cycle. We don't know what Alexi's nightmare might be. It might be the fact that he wasn't there to save Natasha when she needed to be saved. Like there are so many avenues we could have explored in regards to the trauma that the characters go through. Like Ava Ghost is a really, really good example of a character that basically grew up in a lab, and it could be a situation where it's the isolation and the loneliness where maybe she never met Bill Foster and he didn't become like her father figure in any way, shape, or form, and she just suffered by herself. The Void Realm should have been more explored. Like I would have wanted to cut out a little bit of the cheese from the beginning 15 minutes of the film and maybe add 15 more minutes to the Void stuff. All of the characters basically fighting their way through. Yelena being the first one to break through, probably find somebody else, then they go get somebody else, and then slowly but surely all of them just basically find each other in this place because they're connected, because they're the ones that encountered um Sentry first, but that wasn't the case. Like Yelena runs through the entire thing. She runs into Robert. She tries to talk him through it. Sentry Void basically attacks, and then everybody just kind of pops up. And I like that Bucky has like this one really, really good line that had me cracking up, which was they were like, Did you all made it through your rooms? Like, how was it? And he's basically like, well, you know me, my life, that's about sunshine and rainbows. And I was like, yeah, because they're gonna probably pull from like thousands of situations in regards to you and the people that you killed while you were operating as the Winter Soldier. The coolest concept of the Void Realm, I feel like we should have stayed there a little bit more with the characters having to like claw their way through it to get to the point where Robert and the Void can finally have their confrontation. There's like this really, really cool sequence where Alexei Red Guardian runs up to save like this little girl, and like the little girl looks up at him like, "Oh my god, fucking cool! It's like a goddamn superhero," and she gets fucking faded into the Shadow Realm. And I remember everybody audibly gasped because in my mind I was like, that might be the first time that a child probably died on screen in the MCU, and it went from such a wholesome moment to an instantaneously dark moment, which is good. The film did a good job of balancing um action, humor, serious emotional stuff, and really dark horror. Like all that stuff balances just really, really well. The more and more you get to learn about Robert Reynolds, the more and more you get to understand like who he was before, where he was just like this drug addict, schizophrenic burnout, trying to chase like another high. And then he basically showed up hoping that they'd be able to make him into something. But his schizophrenia and his depression and everything manifested into the void entity, and they basically, the scientists were like, nope, this guy has to be killed, and they put him in like that box to basically get rid of him. Only like the project that they worked on, where there was just so much more I wanted to explore with his character. And I wish, like I said, we had taken maybe 15 minutes from the beginning of the film and kind of merged it into more Void Sentry stuff. Because when Sentry's on screen, he's amazing. When Void's on screen, he's menacing and fucking fantastic. I just wish that we spent a little bit more with those characters. And of course, we finally discovered what the asterisk was for the entire time. You know, the Thunderbolts title wasn't actually Thunderbolts. It's revealed that these guys are operating as the new Avengers. And I like the fact that they are in complete opposition, even though they don't want to be. They're in complete opposition to Sam Wilson's Avengers, which he is apparently setting up. And I know a lot of people were like, you know, who could be the members of Sam Wilson's Avengers? I mean, um you've got Shuri, we've got Namor, who's probably going to be tagging along with Shuri. Most of fucking Wakanda, to be quite honest, is probably going to be siding with Sam Wilson. He's got his own Falcon already. There's a high probability he may be recruiting like Shang-Chi, and he's probably got Doctor Strange and Wong and the rest of them that are willing to work with him. Mostly because the way in which the new Avengers are set up, they are funded by the government, which means that they're an Avengers group that not even Steve Rogers would have decided to ever like sit down and put his backing behind, because as he says, the safest hands are still ours. And Sam literally just had a falling out with the United States government. So I can understand why he's basically decided, nope, I'm not joining this Avengers team. I'm going to make my own Avengers team that's completely separate from that Avengers team. And then this entire thing may end up being either funded by Wakanda or funded by somebody else that's related to Sam in some way, shape, or form. And it's kind of funny that because of the way in which the military sees Sam, which is that the military really sees him as Captain America. All those soldiers for the United States military really fuck with Sam. Like they've got his back. You end up in a funny situation where the government can't use the military to go after Sam because of how many of them he saved and how he's always vouching for them, and the fact that he also works with a lot of the veterans and their friends who've come out of the military to make sure they have like good jobs and they have like a good mental headspace to like reacclimate and everything along those lines. So it's just like, what is the government supposed to do? You send in your team of Avengers in hopes to counteract Sam's team of Avengers, which you don't have any control over. Like I said, I thought the movie was good. It is not the best movie since Infinity War. That will still remain as Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. It is not the worst movie since Infinity War. That's definitely still the Marvels, even though I kind of feel as though the Marvels would have been a better film if they had fixed certain aspects of their story. But at the exact same time, I think it's a solid and decent MCU movie, and there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with having a genuinely good B plus 8 out of 10 MCU film. That's going to be the film before the next big MCU film being Fantastic Four in like 1 month. But let me know what you guys think about Thunderbolts. Did you like it? Did you not like it? Like I said, there's a little bit of a spoiler talk, or we're skipping the review altogether. Let me know what you guys think. Comment down below, and I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.